Well, Father Nektarios, thank you so much for coming onto my podcast.
Thank you for hosting me.
Awesome. This is somebody that has real followers in real life, okay? Not like me or other people. So, Father Nektarios, please explain to people your background and where you, what you do.
Sure. So my name is Father Nektarios. Yes. I'm a priest in the Orthodox Christian Church. And I was born and raised in Lebanon, in the Middle East, educated in the Middle East in Lebanon, and then moved to Canada 9 years ago. And I've been serving a congregation, an Orthodox Christian congregation here in Ottawa. It's called St. Elias Cathedral. Some people who might be local might know that it's, one of the oldest congregations in Ottawa, founded by Lebanese immigrants to Canada, but now is a home for, really hundreds and hundreds of families from different kind of backgrounds and walks of life.
It's a very nice church.
Yes.
I was baptized at that church.
I know you were.
I know you were. I mentioned it earlier. It's a very nice church.
Yes.
Because I get that from people who are not even Christians. They say, that's a real church.
Yes. It's built according to the Byzantine architecture.
Yes.
And Byzantine iconography inside of it.
Yes.
So when people go there, it's really, obviously for me as a priest, I would tell you, it's a spiritual place for prayer. But it is truly also a place to learn art, to learn history, to learn culture, and all these things together.
It's Byzantine iconography.
Yeah.
And that's because of what other people call it paintings on the wall or paintings.
Yes, paintings basically. Yes.
Yes. No, they're beautiful. And a lot of people don't know what the Byzantine are. What it is because you're educated in that background.
Yes.
But a lot of people don't know who were the Byzantines.
Yes.
So, where did the Byzantines come from?
Yes. So the Byzantines are basically the people of the Byzantine Empire. However, it's good to know that, when we say the Byzantine Empire, we are really talking about the Roman Empire.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So the Roman Empire that started from before Christ, but also extended until the year 1453. That was the fall of the Byzantine Empire or the Roman Empire. The shift more towards the usage of the Byzantine word or terminology happened in the 4th century, right? And that's when, for us, Saint Constantine the Great moved the capital, and he became an emperor and moved the capital of the empire from Rome to the city of Constantinople, that is the present-day Istanbul in Turkey. Yeah. The Roman Empire always had big provinces, right? And an eastern part and a western part, right? But Saint Constantine, being from that area, moved the capital to be in the Byzantine area. Byzantium is the name of a city in that area, but also he named the capital Constantinople.
After his favorite person.
Exactly, himself. and that was very common even from before St. Constantine. You see, how many places are called Alexandria?
Oh, I think there's even in Afghanistan. Eskandar is Alexander. So if you hear Kandahar, that means Alexander.
I didn't know that.
And if you hear there's in Egypt, he went everywhere.
Yes,
anywhere you see Iskandar.
There's tons of Alexandrias, and that's after Alexander the Great. Antioch, after Antiochus, so all of these cities are named. So it's not like St. Constantine was like, you know what, I love myself so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We still do that. Isn't the airport, Trudeau Airport?
Yeah.
Yeah, still, or the one in Lebanon was that?
Yeah, Hariri Airport, Trump Tower.
You're right.
Everywhere, yeah.
That's true.
People do that, yeah. And
probably Washington was from a guy named Washington.
Yeah, and it was the norm that in a way people thought that this is a way to keep their memory alive, right?
Yeah.
And
it's a legacy.
Their legacy, yes,
their legacy,
absolutely, absolutely. But from a spiritual perspective, I tell you as a priest that eventually something is going to happen and it's going to change. Even the most powerful empire,
Roman Empire,
had an end.
Yeah.
That's
true.
Constantinople, 1,000 years more, maybe 1,100 years, called Constantinople, the most powerful city in the world.
Yeah.
Eventually it fell and it's no longer Constantinople.
I saw that the Byzantine Empire was either responsible or mostly responsible of the spread of Christianity.
100%, yes. Not responsible. So obviously
he helped, but it's a big deal.
Yes. Here's what happened. When you look at the history of Christianity, you go back obviously to the year, hypothetically speaking, not hypothetically, but generically speaking, to the year 0. Yes. And that's Christmas, right? The birth of Jesus. Yeah. And 33 years later, his death and his resurrection, crucifixion and resurrection. And then 50 days later, he sent the Holy Spirit to his disciples and said, go and preach what you just witnessed to the world. They went and they did that. They preached in areas that had both people from pagan religious background and Jewish religious background. But they were accepted by many. but also rejected by many,
yeah.
especially by the authorities.
And the authority back then was the Roman Empire.
Roman Empire, but then
Spoke Greek.
different provinces and different cities under the Roman Empire.
Yeah.
Yes, they spoke Greek because of Alexander the Great,
Yes.
right? That's a few hundred years after Alexander the Great. This was the Hellenistic era, we call it, and that's Hellenistic means that's why Greece. Another word to it is the Hellenic, the Hellenic country or the Elatha in Greece, in Greek. Yeah, so Greek was the official language of the empire. In a way, think about English today, right?
Most people speak English because
it's the language of
British
business. If it's language of trade, you can be doing business with someone in China. You can communicate in English because you assume that for someone to be in the game, they need to know English.
Yes.
That was Greek back then. This is why the Bible was written in the New Testament in Greek.
Yeah.
Although, people around Christ, we don't think they were speaking Greek to each other. They were speaking Aramaic to each other.
Aramaic.
But the official language when you write is Greek.
Yes, because that's what they wrote in
Exactly.
school. Like
yes,
there was school back
exactly.
then.
So back to the idea of Saint Constantine and the Byzantine Empire. He said it's responsible for spreading Christianity. Constantine came 300 years after Christianity started. So for the first 300 years,
It was rough.
Christianity, it was very rough because it was literally illegal to be Christian, to the extent that it was it could be a death sentence. And it was a death sentence for thousands. And it's a footnote I can tell you, it still is in some places. But
Yes.
that's
Yeah. The most prosecuted religion is
Yes, it is.
Christianity,
Yeah. And so Christians for 300 years used to preach secretly in many places, worship secretly. They had underground, catacombs and dungeons, and they prayed in them.
Yeah.
And that's why archaeology today, they find in many places underground, like archaeological sites, and they find Christian symbols like the fish and like the shepherd carrying the sheep, and other stuff. And that shows you, Christians we used to pray here underground. Now, mind you, I think that was very much needed. Because my power is in weakness. Saint Paul says, in the Bible, God allowed. And sometimes He allows that Christianity is prominent in a worldly sense, like when the Byzantine Empire took over, because it helped spread his faith. But also the first 300 years before that, for us, were even more valuable because they put the foundations that Christians have to live in this world while not being attached to this world. Then Saint Constantine came, and him coming was also important because it was the time for Christianity to rise from under the ground to above the ground. So the story is that Saint Constantine, before one of his battles, he saw a sign in the sky that was in the shape of the cross, and he saw inscripted words, right, that said, "In this sign you shall conquer." In this sign, through the cross only. Some people perceive it like, hey, if you believe in me, I'm going to make you win all the battles. I personally do not believe in that. No. I personally believe that this was a message to tell Saint Constantine that all your earthly conquers, I might give them to you, but that's not what makes your value. It's your faith that's going to give you the value. Yeah. If you want real victory, it's going to be your faith, right? But Christ gave him, allowed him to rule, allowed him, that was the will of God back then. But he believed, and the first thing he did was what we call the Edict of Milano. Milano is the city in Italy. Everybody knows Milan. And the Edict of Milano, basically, some people mistakenly say, this made Christianity the religion of the empire. It did not. The Edict of Milano legalized, everybody speaks about freedom of religion, freedom of worship today, right?
Yes.
That was that. This is where it started. Before that, the notion of, you're free to worship whoever you want, I have nothing to do with you. Like, I can't persecute you or take you to jail because of what you believe in.
The law started back then.
This is when it started. Today we take it for granted. Everybody is free to do whatever they want. But this is when it started. Constantine legalized that.
300 years.
Yes, after Christ, 1700 years ago.
That's when the law started. They created the law.
Yes. So then Christians rose from underground to above ground, and they started building actual churches. Yes. Before that, it was scarce to see like an actual, church building, almost non-existent. But a few would, But then he did become Christian. But then even after him, there were some emperors that came after him that were not Christian and persecuted Christianity.
It was a back and forth.
Back and forth until a while. But when you look at 1,000 years of the Byzantine Empire, from this 4th century until its fall, to the Turks in the 15th century, you see prominently an empire in which Christianity flourished, in which churches were built, theology was written, monasteries were built, and there was, for a good time, a healthy relationship between government and church. At other times, not so healthy, you know?
There's only 3 countries that have a Christian as a head of the country, president. One is obviously the Rome.
The Vatican, you mean?
Vatican.
Yeah.
And then the other one is Milan.
I'm not aware of that.
Lona. That's another country that the head is. And the third one is Lebanon.
Yes. In Lebanon, by constitution, the president needs to be
there's like a mandate.
A baptized Maronite Catholic.
There's like a whole.
There's a mandate.
There's a mandate. There's only 3 in the whole world.
Yes.
Are mandatory to have a Christian as a president. It's just funny to think that they did it because they wanted to have a balance of power when. After World War II, they made that mandate.
In Lebanon, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, it was actually after the Civil War in the year 1990.
They're like, okay, everyone calm down, and they
basically divided the seats among them, which I kind of think is a mistake. But I also understand. I grew up in Lebanon, but I also understand that people's mentality means that it's difficult to have an exodus from this kind of system and mindset. Yeah. But I kind of think that if Lebanon has a future, it's going to be
if it's separated religion and politics, maybe that'd be the better chance.
I think it does, because I think that, and I'm a priest, and I'm telling you, in my home country, I'd rather the separation between state and church, because
church does very well when there's a good government.
Yes, and I believe that many politicians use their religion, and then people think that they are
on your team
representing the religion, but they're really just using the religion. So it gives a bad rep to the church.
Yes.
So you know what? I'd rather, if you're qualified to be a politician, I want you to run and take that position based on merit, and faith is a separate thing. Yeah. And that way you liberate me as a clergy, you liberate me as a church, and I don't feel indebted to certain or pressured.
Yeah.
I'd rather this separation. It's not going to happen.
No. That country is built off.
Yes.
The mandates.
Unfortunately, yes.
It's kind of like the 5 mafia families, like in New York.
Yes.
You ever heard that? Like they all okay, you have this section, I have this section.
Yes,
this section.
yes,
But
yes.
instead of mafia, it's
it is. Unfortunately,
but it's like religion.
Unfortunately, it is. Yeah. But again, people say it's the religion, but the church has no say in that. It's a certain political parties, who associate themselves with the religions that
the people
have
also,
that. Yeah.
The people, it's their fault as well in a way, because now they're like voting them, and then maybe they're saying they have no choice, but I feel like everyone's like, I'm not paying taxes because my government's corrupt, and then the government's like, I'm corrupt and my people don't pay me taxes, so then everyone's like,
and then I kind of keep you needing. I keep you kind of in need, and then when I'm running and when I have my campaign, I bribe you. I bribe you.
Here's $1,000.
Yes. Yeah. Or I show you that, if you vote for me, I'm going to do 1, 2, 3 for you, and I keep falling for the same lie, because when people are desperate, they tend to latch on to anything and believe. And then what they do, and that's another problem in today's world, and I make you believe that the other person wants to hurt you.
Yeah.
And all the leaders, they make their people feel that the others want to hurt them. But then they're having dinner. They're having dinner with each other.
Yeah.
Like I tell you,
they're on the same team.
Yeah, they're on the same team. But then they convince people that the others are bad. The other ones, and keep people polarized. Yeah. Each in their corner. They hate each other. And then
it's like the whole
divide and conquer.
Every country has that now. Everyone's like divided now. It's like Lebanon's like the preview of every other country. Oh, you talk about Lebanon has inflation? Not everyone has inflation.
Yes.
Lebanon has corrupted politics.
Yes.
Everyone has it's like the preview. It's like I know they're a little open about it.
Yes.
But it's like everyone's now doing it, and you're like, oh.
I think that this is the sickness of today's world.
Yeah.
This is one day we're gonna look back at the last. I hope that it ends soon. Everything happening in the world, whether we're talking Russia and Ukraine, whether we're talking in Lebanon and the Middle East, whether we're talking we had a pandemic, we're having inflation. This is a turning point in history.
Yeah.
And disclaimer: I am not a conspiracy theorist in general. But I'm going to tell you something. Many people, I think, are very happy with what's happening, because someone is happy to keep people feeling that the idea of the other person or the other side or the other party or the other religion or the other country wants to hurt me and is evil, and thus I need to back myself in my own corner and protect myself and defend myself. And look at the politics in the United States. When I visit the United States, I feel I don't like to talk politics, but the idea of how much everything is politicized.
Yeah.
People come up to you on the street and openly ask you, you like X or Y, whatever,
Yeah. The two
Like,
right now running.
Yeah, like why is this such a comfort that people want to talk about it and ask and give their opinion, or how much signage there is, how much, car stickers there are, how much, everywhere, like, it becomes an obsession like sports.
Oh, yeah.
They're making it like sports competition,
Yeah. Oh, you're wearing the wrong jersey in the wrong town.
But politics are simple that when there's an election, you look at platforms, you choose, and then you move on. But someone doesn't want it to be like that. They want people to
be mad at each
other.
Yeah.
And why? Because, and you know what? It's a human tendency also.
Mm-hmm.
This is the easier choice. If I disagree with you, what is your first instinct? Is it easier that I just start talking about you, and forgive me for the word, like bashing you and, gossiping about you, and I don't talk to you? You're in your own corner, I'm in my own corner,
Yeah.
We criticize each other behind each other's backs. I have nothing to do with you, that's it, you have nothing to do with me. That's the easy choice. The difficult choice is to sit like this and talk. Because talking, if it's going to lead somewhere, it presumes that I'm going to listen to you,
Yeah.
that I'm going to assess my words and my opinions, and that at some point I need to admit a fault.
Yes.
And nobody wants to do that.
There's a game that this student in Russia invented a long time ago, and it's called like the villagers versus the wolves. Okay, so let's say there's a dozen people in the room. There's two. I don't know the game by heart. I could be butchering the game. Like you said, excuse my language. There's two wolves in the room, and there's 10 villagers. And then how the game works is that the wolves know who are the villagers and who are the wolves. Okay? And then they turn off lights, and when they turn on lights, two people have to be voted out, and those people die. But the two wolves versus all 10 villagers. Most of the time, the winners are the minority who know more versus the majority who don't. Mm-hmm. So they can, let's say we're all here, we're saying, oh, it's Frank. The way he looked at me, and I saw him in this room. Trying to, and then we know we're both wolves. We say it, then other people, and it goes around. And this is how politics work.
Yeah.
Or rich, very rich billion. Like there's people in this world that have way more money than even 100 million, even way more money than 1 billion. People can't comprehend how much money they have. And these people sometimes they're playing this game, but in real life. It's like this other game called, I think, Anonymous or something like that. But it's the same thing. So the rule is the minority who knows more, even though you're two people, you can beat the 10 if you know more information. And there's people in this world who know way more information. And they're playing the game as the wolves, while the rest of us are playing sheep. And while we're in the room, we're 12 of us. It was a psychology class that invented the game, and while the rest of us are arguing who the wolves are taking us out, or we're arguing about he prays this way instead of this way, or he looks like this versus this, and he eats this and he or she eats this, or whatever, or whatever they are. Now they every year there's a new victim or a new bad guy. There's always it's like watching Avengers every day. It's like there's a new bad guy, and there's always a new bad guy, and there's a new victim, and we have to look at it like, okay. And it takes over the whole screen, takes over the whole politics, while the rest of us are playing village, while the two wolves who are making, we're talking about trillions maybe, off of, if war happens, we all know company makes money. To buy a bag of, little metals that you can buy from Home Depot, if you go buy from Home Depot, it's probably $5. But if you're a contractor selling to a weapon, you're the weapons guy selling, that's a $90,000 bag of metal, example. So people don't know, that these people, they're controlling the world. I don't know who they are. I could pretend I know. I don't know who they are. We could all pretend. We could all point our fingers and name a few names. Mm-hmm. Everyone can name a few billionaires, but
we'll probably all be wrong eventually.
We'll all be wrong because there's somebody who is that person. Someone has something on that person, and he's like a puppet. That billionaire or that rich person we're thinking is a puppet to someone else, because the wolves know who the wolves are, and the rest of us are the villagers, and it's sad to say, but God is on our side.
Yes, and that's why eventually, like, going back to my mission and message as a priest is that, for me the solution is to not put our trust in this world,
Yeah. Because there's people who want to see the world burn.
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
There's people who want to see the world, and they're really smart, like in a way, like not good smart, like they're very clever, or they're hard to beat. They're 10 steps ahead. They know all the rules. They have all the plays. They have everyone in their pocket. But what they don't have is the numbers.
Yes.
So if everyone just woke up and stopped looking at social media and being mad at each other, one day that happens.
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe some people say a joke, like they say, like, if an aliens come down, maybe we're all on the same team. Like, because they're like, hey, wait a second, why do we care?
Yes.
What each other's skin colors are or how you pray when an alien just showed up? like an example, right?
Yeah.
So there's that joke. That's a very eye opener.
Yes.
If people, but also people are divided even in their own families, and I don't know. It's just I blame a lot of it on social media. That's my.
It does. Look, I think social media is obviously augmenting this, but the problem is not social media. I think the social media is a tool that is augmenting it today.
Anything augments whatever.
I think exactly. I think the real problem is human ego, and pride. That's the difference. Like us, Orthodox Christians, we speak about ego and pride being the mother of all
evil
sins and evil, and we speak about unconditional love as the ultimate goal. Because the more, and for us, the example of this is Jesus Christ, unconditional love. Yes, I recognize that this is not a sermon, a preaching session, but I think, whatever people, obviously I do believe in that what I believe in is an objective truth, but whatever people believe in, they should know that there's no spiritual health and mental health when there's a lot of ego and a lot of pride. You're always fighting someone. You're always fighting yourself. You're always fighting your thoughts. Until we, through acts of love towards other people, serving others, doing things that don't... I'm going to give you an example that I often give, to people. And I don't mean by any means to kind of like disrespect or kind of like diminish the suffering of mental illnesses or the importance of mental health. But I'm going to give an example. Do you know that a lot of doctors, a lot of psychologists, psychiatrists, when people suffer with anxiety, they tell them, go volunteer.
Yeah, go help people.
Yeah, go help people.
Yeah.
That's the same thing what I'm talking about. It's exactly the same thing because, anxiety is thinking about things a lot, worrying about my image, and you know what? When I go do something for someone without expecting anything in return, it distracts me from thinking about my worries and needs and the hypotheticals in my life because it doesn't matter. And that's what Christianity is doing, is inviting us to do, is to move from self-love to selfless love. That's it for us. And you think about it, obviously when we're talking about like who's benefiting from all this evil in the world. Forget about that. Let's talk about
yourself.
You and I, who are working every day, trying to make an honest life, raise children, take care of our parents, be a good person, that's what we need.
Yes.
Like that's exactly what we need. That, and that's difficult because the inclination is to always think about me first. It's like a child. There's a child in us that's always thinking, he took my thing. I want my this and I want my that. And you have children, I have children. We know that.
Yes.
We need to help our children to move from, and we also know how difficult this is. Exactly. From
sharing a toy to a kid is.
Yeah, it starts with that.
Yeah.
It starts with that.
I'm afraid to get a toy for each or something because then it's like, it's a fight, 1 hour fight if you get them a toy. Because one wanted it and the other one wanted it, but it's true.
And sometimes that's what we need to do.
That's human nature.
It is. Yeah, it is a human nature, the way we know it today.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not,
theologian.
Yes. So Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. He was talking about greed more, like how bad greed was, more than even adultery. Like adultery. Yes. Like greed is so bad.
Yes.
He would speak about greed as like way more, I guess.
Yeah.
It was a common...
So I don't have like a number and like how many times he spoke about this or that.
I'm just thinking the number 10 times, but I don't know the number. Yes.
He spoke about greed a lot, of course. And about like seeking after materialistic gains,
Because that corrupts the soul, right?
That does. Yeah, that does. Again, I'm trying to avoid this being a sermon, but...
Okay, we'll stop after this one. We'll go to the next...
It's good. I love this.
Yeah.
But, Christ says, and this Christ whom we believe as Christians is God. He says, when he was being, trialed, they told him, if you're saying you're a king, where are your soldiers to come and release you and defend you? He said, my kingdom is not from this world, of this world. Our kingdom as Christians is not of this world. That's why anything materialistic is to be used for goodness to promote the kingdom of God. Like if God gives me a car, every time I'm driving this car, I have to think, is my usage of this car helping me give thanks to God? Now in Thanksgiving season, right?
Yes.
Like, is it helping me, is it for the good or not? Like, we believe that we do own nothing on earth. We are stewards. Mm-hmm. Everything that God gives you, okay? He gives it to you to make you a steward over it.
Yeah, like you manage it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now,
even your bank account, you manage your bank account.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like even like your money, your whatever you own in the world, you don't really own it. You are entrusted. It is God's, and He's entrusting you to use it for good. Sometimes using it for good means, giving your children a decent future. That's fine when it's balanced. But God wants us to really a test, and everything we have is a test. Are we getting too attached to material, and do we see our worth from this or from this? And that's the problem in the world today. That's really, like everything we spoke about, it comes down to this.
Because when you, we'll take it out of religion, when you give too much to a kid, they can be, like, do you ever heard of spoiled brats or spoiled kids?
Yes, absolutely.
When they grow up as an adult, a spoiled adult is one of the worst people you could ever meet. And then especially if they get into bad vices, like if so one of the most dangerous things you can do is just make your kid so spoiled, right?
Yes, 100%.
So managing, even money can be dangerous to your kid. You can give, it's like if you give your kid millions of dollars and tell them go, that's could be worse than giving them a loaded gun. You don't know what you can do with that. So even though money as an adult, you know what to do with it. If you're if you're like if you're a majority of people, you buy yourself a house or whatever, but if you give somebody who doesn't have the foundation of or routines, or you just give him money, maybe he goes parties till 1 week, like he doesn't go to bed. And one of the scariest things you could do is give your kid everything and not teach them how to manage it. And it's a good way to teach. If you're going to give it to your kid, like a lot of people can take it the way it is. If you tell the kids that same thing, you are the manager of this, it's not yours. When you give it to them, that and one of the ways is you have to be following God. Mm-hmm. It could be a saving them, because if it's just yours, go enjoy. It takes your ego, because I've met a lot of spoiled adults, and it could be really ugly.
Yes.
You've seen a lot of people like in bad shape.
Yes.
And you're thinking, I'll take it to like people who are on drugs. I'll just example. The worst thing you can give a drug addict is unlimited money. Mm-hmm. Because there's no bottom for them to fall.
Yes.
And then when they fall on the bottom, they can rebuild.
Yes.
But if there's unlimited money, he'll never fall to the bottom. It's unlimited.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying like by giving money to your kids are going to be drug addicts. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying in life you manage your items. I'm saying money a lot because people are thinking, oh, you manage your car. But no, I'm saying money because that's what people always think that's going to make them happy.
Exactly.
Or going to make them whatever it is.
Even the smaller things, even when the children are at a younger age, I worry about that. Like growing up, having a toy is really related to an occasion.
Yes.
To a birthday, Christmas,
Like you haven't seen an uncle in 6 months, and he brought you something.
Yes. Yeah. And it's something you cherish, and and I'm gonna tell you, and my children when they grow up, I hope they don't hear that, but I see in my children they have too many things, and it's not like they have but they have way more than we had, and I don't think they value these things anymore. So for example, where like it becomes easy.
Yes.
Like you're at a dollar store. Oh, can I have this toy? You look at it and you're like, oh, it's like cheaper than a cup of coffee. Why not?
Sure, yeah.
So the temptation is give it to them, make them feel happy because Baba got me that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I worry, and I think sometimes, are they losing the sense of are they growing up to think, oh, it's easy to buy things that I crave, and eventually they're gonna discover that it's not.
Yeah.
And if they feel that this is how life is gonna be. It's not going to be like that. what kind of person, so...
You're right, because as a kid, I remember asking everyone for a remote control car.
Yeah.
Ask everyone.
It's a thing.
My uncle asked everyone.
Yeah.
Christmas is coming. I'm gonna ask. I just straight up
Yeah.
asked everybody, and then I would get coloring books or colors. And your remote control car was even I had one, and it accidentally got ran over by I don't know. I forgot who ran over. And I'm like, oh, that's my remote control car. He's like, I'll buy you a new one. Never got the new one. My kids have like 10 of them.
Yeah.
They don't care about it. I look at it.
They don't care about them. Yes.
And I'm looking at like. Everyone's been buying them nice, cool. They don't care. Like maybe 1 or 2 times. They, as a kid, that's like the gift I wanted. Like asked for like maybe 3 or 4 years in a row because like people forgot and they just bought me like whatever it was, right? But RC cars, it's like it looks like a trigger here and you move like this. And there's like a line at the top. Everyone had this toy as a kid. But these kids, like I think they have because they come in 2s. I think they have 10 of them because let's say 5 people bought them, remote control cars. They don't care about it. But as a kid, I was almost begging people for it. This exact toy.
Yeah.
And I would get one. And it doesn't come in packs of 2.
Yes.
Now, like you said, I don't know what. Maybe money was harder to get back then. I don't know what it was. But
maybe. And honestly, I don't worry about it's not about the value. It's about what kind of
too much
mindset the kids are growing up with.
True, because I'm going to go take away half their stuff now.
Yeah.
I'm going to take away 100%. Half their toys.
Let's go do that. Let's go do that.
It's true because you got to like worry about. We didn't have a lot of these things that they have now.
No.
Even their how hard was it to even watch a cartoon? You had to wait till a certain time, a certain channel, a certain morning.
Exactly.
Them like boom.
Now everything's on demand.
Yeah, demand.
Like Netflix or whatever it is.
You just click, yeah.
And
you're thinking like, in their hands walking around.
Yeah.
An iPad.
Yeah.
Us, we had one TV for the whole house. It's true. Like now we are in the. I guess we have plenty.
We all have too much, regardless of how much earthly wealth we think we have. This much or this much or this much or this much. We have more than we need.
Yes,
and it's not healthy, and that's why we need to go back to appreciating every single thing. And for us who believe in God, to obviously to attribute every single. When I drink this water, okay,
be mindful. Thank
if
God
didn't permit me to have this water, I don't have this water.
Yes.
Do I think about this when I do everything? I'm a priest, and I tell you, because it's but the more we try to be detached and not too involved in the materialistic things, the more we live a life of prayer, the more we serve the needy, the more we simplify our life, the more my soul is in position to appreciate this water and know where it's coming from truly.
It's true.
Yeah.
Because if you weren't able to drink that water, this would be a totally different day.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you have to thank God for for even drinking water.
Yeah.
It's
for the breath,
breathing air. Yeah.
Yes,
exactly.
Yeah. Really, if you think about it, if we don't believe that breathing now is by the will of a creator, it means we don't believe in any creator, and that's fine. One can say, I don't believe in God, but if you say you believe in God, but then you don't believe that every single thing in your life is permitted by Him, then maybe you don't really believe in God. Maybe you believe in an idea that there's a superior being. But if you believe in an actual God, who is a personal God, and you have to attribute every single thing to Him. But we clutter our lives and our minds and our souls with too many thoughts, too many ideas, too many projects, too many, that we don't leave room for that.
There's Orthodox fasts, right?
Yes.
Okay. So can you explain the fast?
Yes. Okay. So in the Orthodox Church, fasting is a spiritual discipline that is extremely integral to our faith and extremely important. We have in the Orthodox Church 4 major fasts.
4 major fasts.
4 major fasts. That is the one before Easter. We call it Great Lent. It's a 50-day fast. And I'm going to explain what does it mean to fast. We have a Christmas fast that is 40 days before Christmas. So when everybody's partying, before Christmas season, the church is telling us, no, do less, eat less, don't run after pleasures. Think about what does it mean that God is on earth now, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And then we have a fast in the summer that's before the feast of St. Mary in August. And then we have a fast in June before the feast of St. Peter and Paul. In addition to that, we fast every Wednesday and Friday throughout the year. So when you add up these
Christians fast way more than anyone else.
Yes, so the Orthodox Church, basically a little more, I think, than 50% of the days are fasting days in the year. Sometimes a little less, sometimes a little more, because some of these fasts, their days vary. But around 50% of the year is a fasting day. And by fasting, we mean that essentially we abstain from any animal products. That is meat, chicken, fish, and dairy products and eggs and like everything that comes from it, and basically vegan essentially,
Yes.
with some exceptions to, like some days the church would allow fish because there's a certain celebration to make you feel that okay, they were celebrating a special occasion, but generally vegan. But not only
Because Jesus fished with
Jesus
Saint
ate
Peter.
fish. Yes, Jesus ate, yeah.
Is that what it, is that?
Yes,
do I have it right?
many of his
Saint Peter-
disciples were fishermen.
We're all fish, yeah.
Yes, and there's many analogies about fishing in the Bible. Many incidents about when they were not, a couple of incidents when they were
The
not
miracle with the fish.
exactly getting fish, and then Jesus came. So that's why when there's a fast, but there's a certain celebration, the church allows fish as a special dispensation. But here's the idea: it's not about just what you eat, because someone can say, "Oh, I'm eating vegan food, but I'm gonna go to a restaurant and have like the fanciest vegan plate and
Oh, yeah,
pay
like a mushroom
$50
burger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the idea when we fast is not just to be vegan, but to eat simpler, simpler quantity and simpler cost. Why? Because first of all, it is proven, even scientifically, when you eat less, it's healthier for you. Everyone is about intermittent fasting today.
Yes.
So when we fast, we're not supposed to eat like all day long, but vegan food, you have, instead of having 3 meals, you have 1 or 2 meals. And that's depending on your physical ability, what to have.
The word breakfast is break fast.
To breaking fast,
Yeah,
exactly,
break fast.
exactly.
But everyone eats it like at 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning.
Yes,
You
yeah,
can
exactly,
wait.
yeah. And then in addition to that, we have to be eating. So we know that when you eat meat and animal products, first of all, you're tired, your body is tired, you have no energy, and we also know that it triggers a lot of sins and temptations.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we think that the more you're eating that is simpler and coming from
Like
from
cheese
from
or-
no, like I'm talking like lentils and legumes and veggies and
No, I meant like
some fruits.
the bad ones is like cheese.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. Like
yeah.
all this triggers a lot of the sins. So we want to try to be light on our food in our quantity and quality. But in addition to that, it's not just about the body and the food. It's about the church wants me to spend less time thinking about food and more time thinking about God. So just have a little hummus spread with some veggies. That's why I
Yeah.
tell people,
Yeah.
during fasts, and instead of cooking a fancy meal,
Yeah, you rather
go
have
pray.
a steak with butter on it.
Yeah, go pray instead
Yeah.
of doing that. Then this all becomes complete for us when it becomes also a means to help the needy. So when we fast, the idea is to spend less money on food and not take this money and throw it in a savings account,
But to go give back.
Go give back. And
Almost like sharing.
when I fast, I am voluntarily feeling a little bit of hunger. This must help me think about my brother and sister who involuntarily, they have to be hungry because they don't have enough food. And this should drive me to go and help them, whether by giving them food, by offering them my time, and offering them my prayers. So fasting
That's
is
very nice.
Yeah, that's what fasting is. It's not just, and it's serious for us. It's important. That's what it's life for us,
I'm a sucker for that.
Yeah.
If a homeless person says, I'm hungry, I usually feed them. I don't, like, if they ask for money, I'm like, it depends if
Yeah.
it's change or not. But usually if they say I'm hungry, I look at them
Yeah.
like, okay. Because one day it was freezing, I was outside of the shawarma place, and I was going to shawarmas, like, getting takeout before I go home. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to shawarma place. You want some? He looks at me, he's like, you're not going to like this, but I don't like shawarma. I'm like, there's a burrito place. I'm like burrito, mucho, whatever.
yeah.
I'm like, there's a burrito place. We eat a burrito. I'll eat a burrito. He's like, okay. So him and his partner or whatever, they both came.
Yes.
And bought them burritos. And then you can tell, like, the people were all like, they dress like homeless.
Yes,
And
yes.
I'm like, oh, I'm paying for it, whatever. And even the guy who was on the other side of the counter is like he hooked him up with the guacamole. He's like, oh,
Yeah.
don't pay the guacamole. He's like,
Nice,
usually guacamole is not free,
extra,
right?
yeah.
So he
Yeah.
he
And you know
felt
what's
like the need to give.
So that it's good to also when we have these encounters to actually have conversations with them.
I did
because
do that, yeah.
sometimes they want to talk.
Yeah.
They're not just a number that, hey, and I'm not saying you did that, but I'm just saying, that sometimes people think that, oh, let me throw $5 at them or a burger at them and it's going to solve their problem. No, sometimes you need to talk with them. And we're trying to do this as a church, for example. Like we have a program that we make sandwiches
homeless,
and we go downtown and distribute them, but we also encourage our volunteers to have conversations with
Didn't
the
you guys
people
just
there.
have Feed the Homeless with the apple crumble? You guys made
Yeah,
apple
we did
crumble
that. Yeah.
Wednesday or something,
Yes.
yeah. And then after that, I'm like, sit down and eat. And then I told him, I said, the owner's like, oh, like, I don't want them to stay long. So I told him, like, they don't want you to stay long. Enjoy, don't solicit. Just
Yes.
eat your food as long as you stay an hour if you want.
Yes.
But I said to them, they started talking. They're like, they felt comfortable because I was talking to them. They're like, can I have money, like some money? Like, because now they can get money,
Yes.
I said, yeah, I'll give you money. And they were telling me a story, what they were going to do with it. I said, I don't care about the story.
Yes.
Like, if I was in your shoes, whatever you're going to do with that money, I'd probably do the same, like kind of thing. But they're telling me stories like one of them was in the military.
Yeah, unfortunately,
and I'm like, you think
a very high percentage.
But they're at the point right now they don't even know how to get a bank card. You can just tell where they are now. And one of them, the man, he went like to hug me and kiss me. Like, no, like it's good. See ya. Like have a good day. Like see ya. But when it comes to food, if they ask me for food, I'm like, yeah. Especially if you're going to eat, you're like, yeah, I'm going to eat. Sure.
Yes.
Like I'll go and like get you. Like if you're having a hamburger, get them in the.
For us, Christ called these his little brothers.
Yeah, it was good, and then I felt good. Like you feel good when you do that. But
that's an opportunity to give thanks back to God for the fact that you don't worry about food.
Yeah, thank God. Don't worry about food. I have clothes on my back. And I'm in finance, and I think the statistics, like, everyone's like 3 paychecks away from being homeless.
Yes.
Like, the majority of the Canadians are 3 paychecks away from being in that same position. So, because 3 paychecks, that's what, a month and a half? 2 months? If you miss 1 month, like, no.
Yes.
Like, you can...
I've seen that it says like 80% of the people are 3 months or 3 paychecks away from being homeless.
3 months or 3 paychecks. So when you look at something like that, you don't know. Maybe they got into a car accident or something, and then they're on the pills and they got addicted to the pills. Whatever. It could be anything. So everyone's like 3 paychecks or 3. So you kind of remind people like everybody's. You see a homeless person like everyone, and I always say it as not like a joke to like people, just so like they know to see that when they say everyone's 3 paychecks away from being there or 3 months, and it's sad. But also, it helps when you have a community. So these people don't have like a community or a big family. I've been lucky. I have a great big family. Everyone like has got each other's backs type of thing. If something, God forbid, something happens. So I'm very lucky, very blessed.
That's why I really hope that our society starts moving away from the idea of individualism.
Yes.
We make a distinction between 2 terms, individual and a person. The world today, the society today uses the word individual. You're an individual. An individual is capable of living alone or without the needs of others. A person is a fully independent being, but by being a person, exists only through communion or community and sharing with others.
Yeah, he's part of a group.
Yes.
Or a tribe or something.
Yeah. Like I don't have a being without you, without him, without, and ultimately without God, right? But
we're all connected.
How do we connect with God? Like, like St. John says, don't tell me that you love God that you don't see if you can't love your brother that you see in front of you, right? That's the person. And that's what we need to go back to. There's a lot of individualism, Yeah. There's a lot of encouraging people to not bear children, to only have 1 child. And with all due respect to, to that kind of thought, but to equate pets to to children, we can't equate them to human beings. They have a very important value, but you can't equate that to humans.
I'm very bold. I say it straight up. Like, that's
you
not
can't
the same.
equate. It's not the same.
Your dog is cute, but it's not the same.
They feed us these lies that you can exist alone. How many people live alone, or or even when people get married, like the understanding that it's an agreement you enter and you can leave whenever you want. That's the idea of individualism. Everything is about you. No, it's not. Everything is about me. I don't exist in isolation from other people. It's really sad. There's a terminology. There's a acronym. I forgot what it's called. I think I heard a priest quote it, and he's an awesome speaker, Father Josiah Trenham. DINKs. Have you heard of DINKs? Dual income, no kids. It's a thing today. Apparently,
dual income, no kids.
Imagine you have a partner or a wife, and you're both working. You have dual income. You can focus on your work. You don't waste your time on your money on.
They buy a $3 million Westboro.
Yeah, like that. Dinks. Oh, I want to be a dink. So they feed us lies and acronyms and titles and colors and and it's the worst thing we're doing to our humanity. I'm not saying, I don't want people to forgive me, to equate this to some historical abuse from some churches. Oh, every family should have a dozen children or else. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that the opposite of that is the individualism that we're living today. Yeah. And this is the detriment of our society.
Someone at lunch today, he's like, can I talk to you? I'm like, oh, like we're having lunch. He's like, a good friend of mine. He's a professional. He's like, should I get married? I never met his girlfriend. He's like, I want to get married and have kids. And he's 30. I said, yeah, you should. Yeah.
You absolutely should.
Yeah, you absolutely should. I'm like, just know that you're gonna be with her for a long time and you're gonna have kids. But like, yeah, if you think this is the one, yeah, absolutely you should. What did your parents say? They're like, yeah. The thing is, like, when you're a kid, when you're 30, you still think, no, I can still play the field. You know, you can still like.
Yeah, but it's never. Yeah, it's never.
I said, absolutely, you should. I said, yeah. I'm like, you're a good person. You have great kids, and like, you're asking the guy who's like, yes, go ahead, yeah. So he's like, yeah, you think so? I'm like, absolutely.
And again, people worry about commitment because of ego, because what if this happened? Yeah, what if we argue? What if you argue? You work it out. You forgive. You ask for forgiveness. You love. You serve. That's fine.
What is the thing they say in Lebanese? Abelak?
Abelak means
Abelak is
like may you be the next person to, you know, so for example, if you're in a wedding and you're single, everybody comes up to you, it's like Abelak, may you be the next one to that we celebrate, you know, the following. May you follow.
Yes, and then I try to say, I'm like Abelak, and then like it's just funny because it's annoying for like when you're very young when they tell you Abelak, it's like, man, why don't you go have
yes.
I'm 20.
Yes. But it's really I know it can be annoying, and I know a lot of people
everyone's like everyone matures at a different age.
But I know when I go to weddings,
you're the Abela guy. You go around Abela.
Exactly, and I was not that, and I used to get annoyed from that. But the older I get, I'm not that old, but the older I get, the more years I have in the priesthood. And usually when I'm in a wedding, for example, like the groom or the bride would have a lot of cousins that are also from my church. And I go up to them and I tease them, say, how many times have you heard Abelak tonight? And like, 10 times. Okay, here's your 11th Abelak. You know? It's a joke, but to also infuse this idea that, you know,
it comes from a good place.
It comes from a good place. Even, forgive me, you know, the annoying uncle that keeps saying, yalla, when are you getting married? You know, it is coming from a place that I wish you good things.
Yeah.
Okay? But some people,
if he didn't like you, he wouldn't say it.
Yeah, they're twisting that and thinking, oh, why are you wishing this upon me? My time will come. That's because we're viewing marriage, commitment, routine, children, structure as a burden. It is not a burden.
Oh, people say like, kids are expensive. And they would say, Allah biatik.
They're valuable, not expensive.
No, but that's what they say.
I know.
They're valuable.
The opposite.
They would say it's expensive. Like people say that. I'm like my dad or anybody would just say to me, God will give, or Allah biati. Allah biatik.
Yeah, God will give.
God will give.
God will give.
And that's the first reaction.
Yes. God will provide.
Is that a very Lebanese thing when you say like, oh,
it's a Christian
kids
thing.
Are expensive, and then they'll say God will give.
It's a Christian thing,
really. Like a natural reaction. It's
it's a Christian
it's like hello, and then it's like how are you? It's like their kids are expensive. God will give.
God will give you. He will provide.
And you know what's funny is that person I know, we both know him really well. Harry said that. He's like, the most money he ever made is right after he had kids. So and then I'm like, oh, that's funny. And everyone tells me after they had kids, they had the most money they ever made. And I'm like, that's funny.
But some people will not, and they should not view this as a.
But it's because they're connecting. It's like some people think the miracle about Jesus having fishes, multiplying the fishes. Yes. I don't know how many. Some people, I don't know what religion it is, but they see that as, oh, he didn't multiply it, but he learned to teach everyone to share. I forgot what it was. It was one of the American ones. You know, like
yes. I've heard that. There's forgive me. There's too many awkward interpretations of the Bible. It's very clear. There were five.
They said the number.
2 fish and 5 loaves. Yeah. And he multiplied them. He fed 5,000 people.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how much you share.
5 fish.
2 fish.
It's not a wedding. Exactly. So, but the person was saying that, and then I'm thinking in my head like, oh, when you say things, maybe like it just. So that's why I'm thinking. But let's take it away from religion. You know, let's go to. You know what's the opposite of religion is a lot of I know this is not just Lebanese. I heard it's Greek people and a lot of people do this. Like a lot of cultures have this, but they have superstitions.
Yes, superstitions.
This is a very fun topic to talk about.
Yes.
Superstition. Like one time I was on a dinner and like the whole table was talking about how many superstitions. And my wife is Peruvian, and we're all Lebanese people around the table, and like Lebanese people have a lot of superstitions. Oh yeah, like Lebanese people like knock on wood. I'm gonna name a few, and you probably know if you've heard. Knock on wood. Don't walk over somebody. Don't eat in the bathroom, which you should not eat in the bathroom because it's not sanitary. It's another one is there's a lot of these. There's one that even the old ladies, they look at a coffee cup.
Yep.
And it's always an old lady. They look at a coffee cup.
Yeah.
And they look at you like, oh, you're gonna get married.
Yes.
You're gonna have a happy life, and then
it's always a good.
It's always a good thing.
Yeah.
And like people travel to they'll go from the next village to this village just to talk to the one. There's always one person that can do this very well, and I want you. I know like it has nothing to do with religion, but I want you ever get that?
I get that all the time. Actually, I have a lot of people that mix faith and superstition.
Oh,
And
yeah, I see it all the time.
all the time. So here's the thing, or the evil eye, or the blue
the evil
eye, you know.
What's it called?
Yeah.
Double eye?
Line, it means the eye.
Line,
Yeah.
And
So here's the thing. I also think that superstitions, you know, many times they are trying to point to more moral thing. You know what? It's not nice to cross over someone when they're on the floor. It's just not. It's not nice.
You could fall.
But it's not bad luck. But it's not nice. You know, it's not sanitary to eat any. And the idea is, I get that a lot, obviously, yes. And I get a lot of people that come to me and say, "Oh, this happens to me because of that." And I tell them, you know, obviously from a Christian perspective, if you believe in Christ, you don't believe that these things exist. Like this can't exist with Jesus Christ at the same time.
Yeah.
Either he's in control, or there's some supernatural energy in the world that is in control. You know, some people believe that, and you know, but we don't believe in that.
Yeah.
But it is a thing in our culture, and again, I think it also comes from a very, very good place. But you know what? Let me tell you, just one.
These are fun topics.
Yeah, they are fun topics. Let me tell you one thing. You know, sometimes they serve their purpose. So, for example, when we were in seminary, okay, we used to go. Seminary means where we study theology in the monastery in Lebanon, in the northern part of Lebanon. It's called the Balamand Monastery, and there's a big university, the second biggest university in Lebanon, one of the most important in the Middle East, with all like med school, engineering, law, like everything.
All the smart guys go there.
Yeah, and there's a theology faculty. We used to walk to the village on some nights and go to a place where we have dinner.
Yeah.
And it's like a food truck almost, but with some seats. But the lady, God bless her, she used to make like sage bread. Sage bread is like the thin bread, you know, that you know, and you put in it either meat or cheese or something like that, and you have dinner. That's your dinner. Like
that's the original Lebanese bread.
That's the original Lebanese bread. So there's a university there. So we are theology students. Obviously, we don't believe in that in the cup, like reading the cup. But there are some people that were like from other faculties that do, or they go there for fun. And then they pay her like 50 cents.
Yeah, $1.50.
Yeah, like 1,000 Lebanese pounds. That's basically 66 cents, like two-thirds of a dollar.
Yeah.
Back then, now it's like worth 1 cent, less than 2 cents. Yeah.
I remember when I was there.
Yeah.
1,000 can get you like a bag of chip, or 1,500 or whatever.
Yeah.
A bag of chip, candy, gum, like a lot of stuff in the store.
Yes.
Now it's like
So they would pay her to read the cup, the cup. So you know the small coffee cups. After you finish, you drop it on its, you know, like Lebanese coffee is very thick.
There's grindstone at the bottom.
Exactly. And then you put it on, you flip it on its back, basically, and you wait for the residue to go down. And usually, when you look back, you see all the coffee residue making like some sorts of like lines and shapes. And she starts saying, "Oh, what am I seeing in these shapes?" And then she says, "Oh, this looks like a house. I think you're gonna buy a house, you know, or whatever." And it's for fun. And most people know she's making stuff up.
But did she tell the story nicely? Like
she said very nicely, and that's my point.
Story,
My point is, there's always, it's like a movie. There's always a plot.
Yeah.
Like things start nice, then there's a plot, or there's a
bad
thing that happened, and then there's a closure. You know,
Rocky.
Like a good ending. You know, a positive ending. And then she's like, "Oh, you know, you're smart. You know, you're doing well in school." But soon, I can see that you're starting to go through a rough time in the relationships and whatever. But your perseverance is going to help you overcome it and whatever. And you know what? That's everybody's life. Like, it's like everybody's life is like that.
Yeah.
So what happens is that these students or these young women or young men, if they believe her, what do they think? They start, everything she's saying, they're making a projection and saying, "Oh yeah, that's happening in my life. My boyfriend, well, you know, whatever." Like they start making sense of it.
So they get through it.
Yeah, they get through it. So when she says, "But you're gonna find a way to," you know, she motivates them without knowing. Then they go. And then they find a way to fix their problems and work through them. And they're like, "Yeah, she told me, that lady, when she read the coffee cup for me, she told me I'm going to find a way." But you know what? She just motivated you to find a way to solve your problems.
Yeah.
So for fun, if we can say in a fun way, it might serve a purpose. But obviously, it's not rooted. Like God is not showing anybody in a cup of coffee, you know, what's happening in their life.
The human mind is like that.
Yeah, the human mind is like that. And we like these things because we want explanations of the, you know, unnatural things and things that are not going well.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you know, as a priest, I go back to that. There's the grace of God that works in your life and your will to cooperate with it. And that's it.
There is another one that, like, okay, so like to move it to God, this we'll move it back to that. So not superstitious, but some people believe that the devil tests only the ones who believe in God. So some people are afraid to, like, they think bad stuff's happening to them. They're like, "Oh, it's because I pray too much to God, so like I don't want to get tested anymore." You know, people are tired of the tests, so they just, not they don't believe in it, they're just like, they don't call him as much. They don't like, I don't like to say call him, but some people think that as, or is it going to happen like it's sort of like they're always there, like it's the good and the bad is always there, but I guess people notice the bad more when they're being good? Or
look, there is a truth to that whenever you start working more on your spiritual life, the devil fights you more. When you're not working and you're like neglecting God, he's going to leave you alone because you're already away from God.
He already beat you.
Yeah. By the way, when we start our, for example, great fast, when we speak about fasting, great Lent before Easter, like everybody in church knows, you know, they're going to face some challenges the first couple of weeks of Lent. Because why? They're trying.
Everyone, this is known. This is
it's
like
a known thing. It's a known thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Actually, the Coptic mean the Egyptian Christians.
Yeah.
They have like fun sayings for that. I learned from a priest last year. The devil means shaitan in Arabic. So they have a nickname for him, Shushu.
Oh yeah. So they say.
So I met this priest and like, oh Abuna, how was your first couple of weeks of Lent? I said, you know what, like you know, like for example, we're doing some projects in the church. We start hitting some dead ends with them, or I'm getting tired, or I get a small cold, or like it's not having like everything is happening. And then he's like, oh yeah, sure, Shushu's working. You know, it's the beginning of Lent. Shushu's working. I'm like, what Shushu? He's like, yeah, it's the devil.
They nicknamed them.
It's a nickname, but so it is a thing. When you try more, he who does not want good, he's gonna fight. He's not fight you. He's going to try to put barriers in front of you, obstacles. Okay, but isn't it worth? First of all, once you're working, you know, on yourself and your spiritual life, God will equip you to be able to face these challenges. But also, if you love God and you're seeking Him, if you really do, you would really feel that it's worth it to go through some challenges to achieve this unity with God, this love with God. It's okay if I face a little challenges. Those who are still at the level that, you know, maybe I should not pray a lot because then I'm going to be tried a lot. Those are still thinking about God, forgive me, as a genie, asking Him for stuff. Or, you know, if you love God, I don't care if you're going to die for Him.
Yes.
I love Him. That's the difference. So then, yes, of course, there's going to be a little more trials than when you're not really believing and praying and doing what God's will is. But at the same time, it's worth it. That's how we view it.
So they know Shushu shows up when you become very religious.
100%. Yeah, because otherwise it's like, okay, leave him alone. He's already not
he already lost.
Trying.
I won that battle.
Exactly. Why is he going to waste his effort?
Yeah, because he works not because you're weak. He works because he knows the potential in you.
Yes.
Yeah, yes. So that's what it was. He works works on people who are not weak. So because a lot of people think like I'm so weak, you know, like I'm so like they think of like they think of that, but it's not. It's just he sees the potential in you.
Yeah,
so
he sees the effort, and he wants to stop it.
I think also he tries to get you early.
Yes.
Because later on, is it like remember our kids go to jiu-jitsu, you know? Is there in Christianity or in Orthodox or let's say Christians, is there like levels and belts when you get higher? Like is there or day one?
There are. Yeah. But at the same time, you don't assess yourself and you say, "Oh, now I'm a white belt."
No, I know that.
You know, but there are obviously, of course, yes. The more experienced in the spiritual life you are, and the more
equipped you are.
Exactly.
So, do you have more equipped against?
Not that way. It's not like a graph that the more work you do, the more he tries. No, but usually when you start being serious, he tries more. But eventually, when you become equipped, actually, he fades away because he knows he lost this battle.
Yes.
So it's not like he keeps increasing as you keep increasing. No, there's a phase that he tries a lot when you first start usually.
Yeah.
But then when you pass that and you become like you have peace in yourself, you have grace, you know how to pray, you know how to love others, you know how to, then he disappears because it's a lost battle. He go find someone else.
Yeah. Here you go. Yeah. It's good. I had one more I wanted to ask you. It's another fun one. A lot of people, we talked about Roman Empire. That's very fun. We talked about these superstitions. Those are fun too.
Yeah.
And the other one is astrology.
Yes.
This is a fun one. So what is it like? Astrology is astrology. There's stars in the air. But you know how some people like.
Yes.
This is mostly like. There's a meme about women like talking about this. They think like they look at that and they're like, oh, I will marry a rich man, whatever they like.
Yeah, you mean the signs? What do you call it? Zodiac signs.
Yeah, zodiac signs. Yeah, zodiac signs. Yeah. What do you think about zodiac signs?
I personally think they're fake. To be honest, like I don't think
they're like, funny. They're nicely written. They're fun
I used to read them when I was younger, but I don't anymore. And
fortune cookie.
Yes. Yeah. They're in the similar boat as the cup.
Yeah. They're the cup of coffee.
Yes, exactly. The cup of coffee.
And
you're compatible with a
fish.
or this or so I personally don't believe in that, and because I believe that the creator is a personal creator and not just an energy in the universe. That's why I believe in what I believe in.
Master architect.
I don't believe in like signs in the air and like there's a person, there's like the God, he's not a person like you and I in terms of but he's an entity, he's a personal God It's not just like an energy in
No,
the air,
yeah.
you know, yeah.
Yeah, so the cup. So that one is
Yeah.
in the cup.
Yes,
Those
it's the same
ones
thing.
are fun. I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know if you ever heard those ones. And what do you like to debunk about people who ask about Christianity or Orthodox? Because like, I don't know the life of. I always. It's funny. This is
Yes.
funny to say. I thought everyone was Christian growing up. You know,
Yes,
this is,
yes.
now as an adult, I'm like, oh, there's nothing. You know, like,
Yes.
that's just because I went to
Yeah.
Catholic school and
Yes.
went to church. But so I don't know the life of people who don't. Who are, you know, what is it like you like to debunk? Because you see people come from like don't know anything and
Yes.
yeah. What
I like to debunk is the fact that some people think that Christianity is a good boy, bad boy religion. That there's a God sitting in the throne and counting for you the good deeds and the bad deeds, and then eventually, if the good deeds outweigh the bad deeds, he sends you to heaven. If the bad deeds outweigh the good deeds, he sends you to the fire. And that's not how it works. Our God is a personal God. We believe, Christians believe in that God came down from heaven and became a human being exactly like you, exactly like me. That's Jesus. That changes the whole game for us. His love, His grace, His mercy is everything. And then we want to live well and do good things because we love Him. We want to love Him back. Not because, you know, this legalistic relationship that some people think, you know,
That they
this
have enough
punitive God, this legalistic. Of course, we believe in that there is a life eternal and there is suffering. But we believe in a merciful God who knows the hearts of people, who loves them, who became a human being. And for me, that starts changing people's views about Christianity, those who do not believe in Christianity.
Cool, because people think like there's like a point system.
Yes.
So when they come, they're like,
exactly.
oh, there's a point system. How do I get into heaven? And then they start being like super nice here,
Yeah.
donating,
Yeah.
and, you know, whatever.
You,
They think
you
they
don't
think-
you don't buy God.
No,
you
that's
know?
what they think. They
you
think
you
buy-
believe in what He does for you. You return that not just by donating or serving the poor or praying or being nice to the people or raising your children well. No, you do these things simply because you know that you love Him. You want to become like Him.
The ultimate goal is to be as
like
close as you
Him,
can
yeah.
to
to become like Christ,
Like
to
Christ.
become a Christ.
Yeah.
You know,
which is impossible for us, but
it's not impossible. I don't think it's difficult. I don't think it's impossible.
oh yeah, okay.
Yes. Not to become
Jesus
Him
Christ.
as
No.
you know, no, not to become divine, but to become exactly like Him. And
Yes.
when I say it's not impossible, because I have a lot of examples of people that I might have met in person or learning about them. That is the saints.
Oh,
that
the
have-
saints who
that
their
have-
bodies don't decompose.
Yeah, but
or
not just the
whatever.
body; it's how they lived. Like
Yeah.
the purity, that they have become united with Christ and like Christ. These are our companions. You know, we read about them, we learn about them, we pray with them.
There is I've seen like miracles. This is a nice fun one to talk about too. But there's a lot of miracles that a lot of nice ones. There's some that like the icons.
Yes.
There's like tears
Yes.
or there's bodies.
weeping icons,
Weeping
or incorrupt
icons.
bodies, or
incorrupt bodies.
Yes, there's a lot of that,
and it's
yeah.
always around like saints. People have been
Yes.
sainted.
yes.
What else is another one I've seen? There's a lot of miracles like that.
Yeah, every day there are miracles happening everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, the real miracle is that God became man.
Yeah.
The real miracle is that He gave us the ability to change from our ways and repent and become like Him. But these are signs that He is working.
Yes.
You know, I've venerated weeping icons, and I've seen that. I've seen this year in Greece. I venerated a relic. We call it relics, the body of a saint from the 4th century, 1700 years ago, that I can still see in his body. You know, some incorrupt parts like his legs. And I know like people today are like, "Hey, that's creepy." No, that's holy for us. His hands and feet. I can see the like 1700 years skin and.
Oh, it's not decomposed.
It's not decomposed.
Okay.
No. Does every saint not be decomposed? No, many do, but some don't. To tell us that when the grace of God is in you and you live a holy life, you're going to live forever. And then those who see it, they want to become like them. They want to live like them. They want to become holy.
Supposedly, sometimes you walk in the room and you see that the smell is
Yes.
sweet.
Yeah, a lot of saints are myrrh streaming, we call them. Myrrh streaming. So their relics, their tomb, they gush out like a fragrant kind of like smell or something.
Like a
It's like an
rose or
oil, like an oil, like a kind of like an oily substance. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, the tomb, yeah. Like Saint Demetrius in Greece, in Thessaloniki. Beautiful city, by the way. If someone goes there, go to the church of Saint Demetrius.
Yes.
He's called the myrrh streaming. You know, just go to his grave and you'll.
You know Greece very well. You lived there for 4 years?
No, just for like a semester.
Oh,
you know,
semester. You did your semester
But
there, okay.
I visit there. I like it's my.
You go there a
like,
lot.
Yeah,
And you learn Greek.
yes.
You learn Greek in Lebanon.
in Lebanon,
Okay.
and then also in Greece. Like when. Yeah.
So that's the language you speak, Greek? English and Arabic.
So English and Arabic are my main languages.
Yes.
I can communicate in French and Greek. I can read French and Greek very well. Expression, with less practice becomes a little slower, but
Yes.
yeah, I can communicate.
English is like your third language.
Yeah, it's my second, actually.
Second language.
Greek and French are kind of equally my third, fourth, yeah.
And you learned it just TV and
English in school, actually.
School?
I actually went to evangelical school as a young child in Lebanon.
Oh, you started that young trying to.
No, that's a regular school.
Oh,
Just like
okay.
there's a Catholic school in
Oh,
Ottawa,
okay,
just like regular school.
Orthodox
but
school or whatever, yeah.
Just ran by, yeah.
And when did you figure out you wanted to be a priest?
Priest. There isn't like one moment where like I saw a dream or anything like that. But as a teenager, I loved the church. I was part of youth groups, choirs, and I went to monasteries and met monks and people in the church. And I knew I loved the church. I loved the Lord and I wanted to serve Him. But I didn't say, okay, I want to become a priest. But when I graduated from high school, I thought I wanted to go study theology. I waited a year. I tried something else, but then I figured out that no, this is what I want, and then I studied theology for 7 years, and then I became, I became a deacon and a priest.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
yeah.
It's good because you loved it so much. You're like, oh, I want to serve God.
Yes. Of course, it was very natural. Like it's not. It doesn't happen. Like I want to choose a profession, a career, a vocation. No. It's natural. I grew up in the church, and
Yeah.
I was naturally attracted to serving the church.
And you have siblings?
I do too.
You have two?
Yeah.
Are they your older, younger?
I'm the oldest.
You're the oldest?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you were also very mature, taking care of them when you were kids, and
Kind of. You have to ask them.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'll ask their opinion. But I guess that's good. Now you're
Yes.
taking care of a lot of people, and
God takes care of them. The priest has to always remember that he's a vessel, because if you feel that you are responsible for everyone, it's very burdensome. But then you have to always remember that God entrusted you. You help the people, but then you take all people's problems and struggles and you offer them to God. He's the shepherd. You're helping him.
yeah, that's a good way to
Yeah.
think of it and do it, because hearing everyone's problems all day, or because you hear good and bad. You hear like some days you see weddings and baptisms, and the next week you'll see funerals or people going through problems. So you see way more people than the regular psychologist. Who's to see.
Yes.
So a lot of times it's hard. It's a hard burden, but you pray and it just offer
Yes,
to God.
prayer is everything.
Prayers, everything. Okay, it's been awesome. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
coming on.
My
This has been
pleasure.
awesome.
Thank you.
This
Thank
is great. I hope a lot of people learned about this.
I hope so.
You're full of knowledge, and you made it like a little bit of sermon. That's good. Some people need to watch a little sermon here and there.